run into some frontier fighters last week? Bunch of douchebags tried to explain why I was helping the cause. Oh,
That's me.
okay, sorry. I should read it first.
You're probably wondering what I'm doing here. I mean, besides looking like Dr. Eggman. These suits are not flattering. Anyway, as part of our content-driven initiative this year, we're adding a few more tools to our in-game storytelling, because reading endless datapads is really kind of lame. And because I work cheap and say yes to a lot of things, I'll be playing a new role inside the Persistent universe. This is Dev Diary, Performance Artist. This is our performance capture stage. It's a little over 2,000 square feet with more than 50 OptiTrack cameras. We can capture up to 4 faces and 8 performers all at the same time, doing just about anything the human body can achieve. From dramatic moments like this,
Copy that. Tally's on me.
Do it.
to even the most action-filled.
Not on my ship.
I've entered the station.
It's one of the biggest, quietest, and most technologically advanced performance capture stages of its kind in all of Europe.
Bit of bad luck, that. Not to worry, though.
And it's located right across the way from our Manchester office in the old Granada Studios. That famous facility where the Beatles had their very first televised performance way back in the day. Okay, not this room, but the one next to it. It's close. In addition to the big fancy stage, there are backstage areas as well, including our face scanning room where performers are tortured for about an hour into contorting their faces into every shape you can imagine, and a few you wish you hadn't. The cast green room, where you can sit and be intimidated by some of the incredible talent that we've had over the years, as well as a number of dressing rooms normally reserved for talent. But on this day, this one is being held for me, the person that walked in front of CR and Dave Haddock at just the right moment 3 weeks ago. My room has pictures of the main man, Mark Hamill, who should need no introduction to anyone watching year 12 of this show. On this day, my call was after lunch, which usually means they wanted to get the important stuff out of the way first and expect me to waste a bunch of their time because I don't really know what I'm doing. Here, I check in with everyone. I'm going to try really hard not to disappoint for the rest of the afternoon. Folks like CJ, Katie, Natalie, and Juan of the mocap crew, they're responsible for tracking the body and telling me I move like an angel. Vasilios and Scott on the facial crew, and the reason that I've had to shave recently. Justin and Aaron from audio, who provide encouragement when my voice becomes just a bit too nasally. The producers, John and Eleanor, who make certain everything gets done. And the director, Dave Haddock. You know, I made this guy a star with Lore Makers back in the day, and now he big times me and will spend most of today telling me to tune things down because, well, I'm a chronic overactor. Now with the call time met, it's time to start getting ready. And that begins by going to the markering room and getting fitted for a helmet. You know, I'll take the XXL melon noggin, please.
I think the sides are fine. We'll put medium there. How does it feel on the top?
Then it's off to the dressing room to squeeze myself into what Jonathan Booth, the man behind Jax McCleary himself, referred to as essentially
large black condom.
Yeah, I really let this go to air.
Let's go get yelled at by Natalie.
Next, it's back to the markering room where they tell you that you've dressed yourself poorly. Fix all of your mistakes, then attach all the tracking dots to various positions. Testing to ensure they won't move or fall off with the various movements I'll have to do in just a few minutes.
And you can relax. And that is your markered.
Fully markered, we now return to the stage where it's time to fit and adjust our helmet and camera setup. Here, they're discussing the fact that I broke my neck over 25 years ago, and it's left me with a tendency to bob and nod unnecessarily when talking. So we're gonna have to tighten this thing to insane levels to keep the expensive camera from flying all over the place. Now, it's time to do the range of motion checks, in which I get to demonstrate my utter lack of flexibility and complete inability to tell my left from my right in front of everyone to see. It's an important step in humbling the chosen performer before they get to all that acting stuff in just a few minutes. I would later learn that it's also necessary for technical calibration or whatever, they tried to explain it to me, but in this moment, I was completely convinced that this was a shame-based hazing ritual and plotting my revenge on everyone in attendance. Finally, it's time to get a bunch of dots put on my face, which I'm absolutely certain in this moment I will forget to wash off my face before returning to my desk later today. Now that I've been fully prepped for work, it's time to set up the scene. In today's shoot, I'll be playing an SSN newsflash anchor named James Harriman.
This is James Harriman with an SSN newsflash.
The brief I was given is that 900 years in the future, these are low attention span vignettes of under a minute that are hosted by a news pro that does not get excitable or include his personal opinions in his reading of the facts. Basically, short and with as little of himself as possible. I have no idea why they came to me for this, and it's possible I'm being punked right now. But I'm gonna try really hard not to let anyone down.
Shocking news out of the Stanton system with the recent attacks by Frontier fighters on the Invictus celebrations.
And in addition to news about the ongoing threat of the Frontier fighters, I'm also doing reports about a new threat to all human life in the verse that begins to rear its head in the upcoming Alpha 4.1 with the start of this year's B story, concerning a suspected failure of regen technologies, which we'll learn more about in just a couple of weeks.
The UEE Senate has put out a call for resources to help fund the scientific research needed to overcome the regen crisis.
And while I'm here, they've also asked me to do some minor, mocap-only business for a Squadron 42 newscaster, shuffling some data pads around with my hands. That's Adam. Adam is here asking me if I've ever used my hands to move things before. Not really, Adam. I'm very, very good at all of this. Then lastly, I'm doing a few more pickups for random NPCs you'll find in the Stanton and Pyro systems related to these ongoing narratives.
Are you sure I can't do an imprint today? I have a really important memory I just made and I don't want to lose it.
Would you believe I used to be the darling of the community theater scene?
Getting a little tired of these Frontier fighters. I would have been on their side if they didn't go and start attacking innocent people to prove their point. Now, they're just another bunch of assholes.
Ultimately, these newscasts and NPC encounters are just some of the ways we're working to improve the storytelling of our persistent universe, including a real actor bringing another brand new character to the verse. But you'll meet him and his species soon enough. And all of this is just one small aspect of the work being done to improve our sense of character and narrative storytelling in the persistent universe. And like the ongoing bug fixes, stability improvements, and overall quality of life changes being made by our fantastic programmers and engineers right now, these updates will roll out in releases throughout the remainder of this year. So for Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee. Thanks for letting us share the people and process of game development with you, and we'll see you all here in 2 weeks with a look at the upcoming Alpha 4.1.